Hi there, and we go to learn three trematodes of liver. Today we learn this Fasciola Hepatica, Apistorchis felineus, and Dicrocelium lanceatum. And go to Fasciola Hepatica. Okay, what you must know. You must know morphology of all forms of this worm and where you can find these life forms and life cycle of this worm. And what's more, as a doctor, you must know pathogenicity, how we can infect this worm, and where we can meet this worm, in what places of our in your country or in the world, and diagnosis. Okay, let's go from the morphology and life cycle. Morphology. There are three main forms, and these forms very interesting in life cycle in medical biology. And first form, it is adult worms. These forms have a size about 3 to 1/2 centimeters, as you can see here. 3 to 1/2, and like another trematodes, this worm has oral sucker, and another sucker. No, I'm sorry. Freezy. Okay, and like from this oral sucker, it start digestive system, and as it is a trematoda, and as a trematoda, this worm has a blind digestive system. Okay, the next one, it has on the top, or on the top of its organism, has an ovary and uterus, and as other trematodes, it has a male system, sex glands, testes, 2 testes. Okay, this is adult. Adult worms produce a lot of eggs, more than 20 eggs at once, in one time. This is the egg. Egg is more smaller than the adult worm. Surprise. And the size of egg, about 140 to 70 nanometers. It is one of the biggest eggs around all trematodes. Remember that, and you every time can find these eggs in microscope, when you microscopy when you microscope is these eggs, each other eggs of from another worms. Okay, and this egg has a color. It's very important in diagnosis. Color, it's yellowish brown. Okay, and this egg has a third most important in morphology, third life form. This is a larva. Actually, eggs contain a first stage of larva. Okay, and what is the first stage of larva? The first stage of larva called miracidium. Miracidium, pyroform ciliated organism with anterior boring process, primitive gut, penetration glands, flame cells, germinal cells, eye spots, and it's look like a little worm. Okay, the next stage and egg from adult form to start a life cycle must go to a water. In the water, miracidium go out from the egg, and this cap, I come back to bigger figure. This egg has a cap, has a little cap, and in help of this cap is open in water, and this is a miracidium, and this miracidium must go outside to the water and find a water snail. And miracidium inside the water, inside the liver of water snail, make a sporocyst, forming a sporocyst. What is a sporocyst? Sac-like organism containing masses of germinal cells, which develop into daughter sporocyst or radia. And after sporocyst, we can get a lot of sporocysts to a daughter sporocysts, or one of these sporocysts developed to the radia. This is the sporocyst, look like this organism. And the next stage of larva, next stage of life cycle of this worm, it is this radia. Okay, radia, cylindrical organism with muscular pharynx, primitive gut, flame cells, collar-like structure anteriorly. And inside this organism we can see two processes. Germinal cells which develop into daughter radia or develop into Circaria. Okay, and sporocyst can make a lot of radia, or can make a lot of Circaria. Okay, what's the next? Circaria. The next stage of larval life is Circaria. Circaria have a body and a simple tail. As you can see, there is the body. It looks like a sperm. Body and a simple tail. The body resembles the adult having oral and ventral suckers. There is the oral and ventral suckers, and you can see in adult oral and ventral suckers. And this is a free living form in short time, and we can find them in the water. And this life form, this is one of the forms in help, and this form help us to take a disease, fasciolosis, when we swim in a river and take water from this river, and we can take with water Circarias, a lot of Circarias, and get hepatitis, worm hepatitis. The next stage, it is a metacercaria. It is a cercaria without a tail. And what is the cercaria? What is a metacercaria? When cercaria loses its tail and secretes a cyst wall and connect to water plants, it is stay a metacercaria. And after metacercaria go to first host, final host, final host, it is grows to the adult form, and this adult form produce a lot of eggs. What you must know, from one egg or from one miracidio we can get more than 100,000 of cercarias, because on this stage of life cycle this organism can multiple their number, and can what he can do, it can take a lot of larvas to increase a chance to go to a final host. Okay. And what is the pathogenicity of this disease? Heavy infection causes serious liver damage, or liver root, it's called too, due to pressure, toxic metabolic products, and feeding habits of the worm. Okay, next one of pathogenicity, it is a presence, including presence of worms in the bile ducts, provokes inflammatory adenomatosis and fibrotic changes. Okay, the patient feels pain or colic in the right hypochondrium. He gets fever, chills, vomiting, dyspepsia, high eosinophilia, and high eosinophilia. And the last one, it is migration. Worms may reach ectopic foci and form worm abscesses in different parts of a body, but it is not so danger. What is a clinical manifestation of Fasciola Hepatica? Majority of people infected has low worm burdens and do not manifest any significant chronic symptoms. It's most of cases of fasciolosis. And during the period of migration in fasciola infection, an acute clinical syndrome may occur which is characterized by prolonged fever, pain in the right hypochondrium, and sometimes hepatomegaly, asthenia, and it makes eosinophilia. Okay, and what is the diagnosis? First of all, you can find eggs of Fasciola hepatica and inside feces. This testing of feces to finding eggs. Prolonged fever, it's the second one. Prolonged fever associated with hepatomegaly and high eosinophilia, as I said previously. And skin test and serological methods when stools are negative, when you think that the patient has a hepatitis or another worm's disease. Where we can meet a Fasciola hepatica. Epidemiology. Fascioliasis is found in most parts of the world. This infection, although seen quite rarely in humans, has appeared in outbreaks in Europe, especially in France and particularly following wet summers. The human infection has been reported from 42 countries in the last 2 decades, with some of the form of outbreak in South America, Cuba, Peru, Chile, in Puerto Rico, for example, in most countries. How to control and how to prevent this disease. First, it is a snail control in the water, an elimination of water vegetation, mass treatment of infected animals, safe water supplies, proper washing or cooking of water plants before consumption, and proper cooking of liver and other viscera, but it is not important to make a disease, because when you eat a liver, in a liver you cannot find infective form. Be careful when you swimming in some rivers, where in the places when you can meet Fasciola hepatica, and be careful when you cooking water plants. It is enough for prevent this disease.